Golden monkey.
Monkey fur.
That's what it looks like. It's either going to be golden monkey or it's going to be English breakfast tea. Those are the only two black teas that I drink. They drink the other one. It's a caboose, but I don't drink that stuff.
That's, what was it, Yemeni, Ethiopian or something?
No, it's Kenyan.
Okay.
But it's a Yemeni family that owns it.
Oh, okay.
But the actual tea's from Kenya.
Everything okay? Oh. The jazz out of the bathroom.
Jad! تعال. خذوا يحتاج الحمام. يدريش يحتاج الحمام خلاص. It's right here, you gotta come get it, dude. تعال. موجود هنا. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وبعد. So we are on chapter 163, right?
Yes.
Babu Fadlil Kabir. And this is talking about the rights of the older person, the person who's older in age, your elders and their rights and how they should be treated and respected. Because obviously what's feet? Huh? Hey, show? Come and look كمان. هو ممكن يحتاج الشيء هذا.
Yes, that's what to say.
ها؟
That's what to say.
و193 93 أو 193
That's what to say.
What?
Listen.
No. Hold on a second. No, drink. Are you serious? Drink some juice. Hold on. 93 عفوا أخي أنا جالس أفكر 39. I'm like, oh no. I'm like, the world's coming to an end right now. No, he said he was saying 93, but because I'm so tired, my mind is thinking 39.
What's that mean? I don't know my numbers.
Well, look, if his glucose goes anything below 70, it's like super low. And he's got to drink juice or something just to get his blood sugar up. If it goes down to like 39, that's like he's about to go into a coma, So that's why you saw I jumped up and I was like, what?
What did you think it was?
I thought it was 39.
And what was it really?
93.
Oh.
Yeah, my mind just, he was like saying, he was saying it right. He said that after what you're saying, and I repeated it, but for some reason my mind processed 39. So, boy, that scared me, man. That happened to him one time in the hospital.
Really?
I thought, imagine going through all this with this boy, at the beginning, and like thinking like I'm gonna lose my son. And then he starts doing better. Then he gets out of ICU. Then he gets put back in the ICU, because of the nurse, she's just an idiot, Akhi. And I tried to tell her, I said, don't, you're wrong. What you're doing is wrong. This is not right. She said, no, I know what I'm doing. And then his sugar levels that night, she gave him too much insulin. And he was, and his sugar level dropped to 25, which is just like, emergency room, that's emergency room. So I looked at him and then he started talking to me and I was like, nah, he ain't right. So I ran out and got the other nurse. It's a Filipino nurse. It's a dude. He loves Muslims, but he's not Muslim, right?
Really?
So I got him. I said, come here, man. Check his sugar right now. Because this woman, I don't know, it's like she's trying to kill my son or something, Mm-hmm. And then he saw like how low the sugar was. They had to put an IV, like a glucose IV in his arm. And he was talking to me, and then he's like, Baba, I can't, he's about to pass out. So nah, man, just stay with me, man. Just stay with me, just relax. It's all right, man. Just keep talking to me. Nah, that was when you went back to ICU, second time. Yeah, you could walk, but at that time you couldn't walk. You kept getting dizzy. So that time you told me, you said, I feel real dizzy. Bobby, you said, I don't feel good. I don't feel good. And that's when I ran out and got the doctor. But I was like, man, this ain't his blood pressure. There's got to be a sugar. Yeah, man, it dropped down to 25 because of that woman. I'm like, man.
Which one was I there?
I told her, like, I was sitting there, like, because the Filipino nurse, the one I know was there. And then that lady came in and I said, if anything happens to my son, you better pray something doesn't happen to my son. Because I said, I'm not, I mean, I'm going to be responsible, but I'm not going to be able to control myself for what I'm going to do right now. You know, but you better pray that this boy is okay.
Yeah.
Because, you know.
So, was I, the girl who screwed it up, was I there when she was there?
No, this was like late at night.
Oh. But I never seen her?
Because this was in ICU the second time.
Oh, okay.
So he didn't stay there for that long, you know. Then he went back down. So, but anyways, enough of reliving nightmares. All right, so we're on Bab Fadl al-Kabir. So this is dealing with like what we were talking about, the rights of the elders, the person who's older than you, he's got more experience than you, he's lived longer than you, and you know, and the type of respect that the person has. And of course, this all goes back. It goes back to the urf. You know, as far as like the type of respect and the, you know, as far as the hudud and the boundaries of how what is considered showing respect to an elder person. So like, for example, what's considered showing respect to an elder person in Yemen might be different than Sardinia, might be different than Indonesia, might be different than Ethiopia, might be different than Mauritania, and definitely different from America. All right, so America is just going to be completely, you know, bonkers as far as like, you know, what's considered showing respect to elders. All right, so as far as like showing respect to elders, I mean, us as Muslims in America, then we won't take generally from the customs of the people here, but we'll take from the customs of what? Yeah, from the Muslims, from the general understanding of the Muslims. So there's just general concepts. Like, I mean, there are certain things in America, for example, that we just grow up with. If an elder person talks to you, yes ma'am, no ma'am, yes sir, no sir, right? Same thing in California, no? Or is this just a southern thing?
Southern thing.
Yeah, because of a southern thing, like in the South, back when I was growing up, if an older person talked to you and you said yes or no, you had to go to the dentist. They'll knock your teeth out, Akhi.
Really?
You'll get slapped so hard you'll be missing a tooth after that.
The dentist?
Now you have to go to the dentist to get that something happened with that tooth.
They pull it, so your parents will send you to the dentist?
No, they'll knock your tooth out. They'll slap you so hard your tooth's gonna fly out your mouth.
And the dentist don't get in trouble for not taking your teeth out?
No, they'd have done it. Your mother knocks your teeth out.
Oh.
I said you're gonna have to go to the dentist to get that filled. You know, to do something with the gap that you have now, because now you're not gonna have a tooth there anymore because one of your parents is gonna, or your parents, your cousins, your uncle, somebody's gonna knock your teeth out.
Yeah.
A tooth out, at least a tooth out.
Oh yeah, I noticed that a lot in Tennessee. Like that was a big like difference from over here to there. You know, even like the people from Memphis here be saying that, like yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am.
No, the gangsters and the drug dealers in the South.
Yeah.
If they're speaking to an older person, oh yes sir, yes sir, yes sir, no
Really?
sir. Yeah.
Not here.
Yeah, because in the South,
Here they call them a cuss word and then
The N-word.
yeah. We're raised up with manners, dude. You know, and because we're raised up with family.
yeah.
If you disrespect somebody in the family or the neighbors or something, like even with the neighbors, you can't do that.
No.
You're gonna get somebody in the family, one of your cousins, your older cousins, your uncle, somebody's gonna just knock the mess out of you. If your mother doesn't do it, somebody's gonna do it. If your father doesn't do it, somebody's gonna do it. So it's just a different type of manners, you know. So whatever basically it falls in lines with the urf and the customs of the people, then that's what we do, you know. If an older person is walking behind you, hold the door for them. If you're getting on the bus and an older person's behind you, let them get on the bus first. If you're sitting down and the older person gets on the bus and there's no place for him to sit, what? Stand up and let them sit down, you know. You'd be surprised at some of the types of things that, you know, the people, you know, that you do. And there's small things as far as like, you know, the effort that you have to give to do these small things. They're small, but in the eyes of the people, they might, you know, you don't know, maybe people come to Islam just based on that. I mean, just like the other day I was in Walmart It is an old Mexican guy. He must have been like 250 years old, akhi. You know, he was in the scooter thing. And I saw him when he started to get up to get his groceries. I was like, nah. I said, sit down, I got it for you, you know. And I started getting the groceries out and putting them up for him so he didn't have to get up. Akhi, if you saw the shocked look on his face, like, it's like, thank you. You know, it's like what? I mean, what, people don't do that here or what, you know? Yeah, I mean, subhanAllah, like, you know, in the South, they're going to help you with the groceries, to carry the groceries out to the car for him, to do everything, you know. But just the look on his face, akhi, it was shocking because he didn't know what to say. He was just so like, wow, thank you. You know, it's like man, no, thank you. This is common courtesy, you know. You just see an older person, you know, and you know, but this is not the type of thing that we do anymore. You know, like you said, you know, people knocking out old dudes, people cursing, you know, using vulgar language and profanity with old people. Not the whole respect issue is non-existent anymore, and it doesn't matter. You know, it doesn't matter. Like, you know, subhanAllah, even when we were growing up, I mean, we had, you know, crackheads that were like 60 years old in our neighborhood. You know. And then we still showed them a respect, even though he's a crackhead, right? Yeah. And of course, in Florida, in the South, the crackhead is what? It's the lowest of the low, akhi. You can't go lower than this in society. If you're a crackhead, khalas, nobody's going to show you any type of respect. And that's why I, you know, generally refer to people as what? Crackheads. And I know somebody's not going to be happy today because now you're going to get this word over and over and over again.
It's only been 10 minutes.
Yeah, now I'm going to say it 10 times. You know? But I mean, even crackheads, I feel there was like a general respect that we still, if they were older, you know? You still you showed respect for him as an older man, but then that's where it ended, because he's still a crackhead. You know what I'm saying? You don't show, because a crackhead is just, you know, like I said, it's the lowest of the low. You know, there's no way like you can have just respect for a crackhead as a crackhead. But if he's an older person, we still said yes sir, no sir. But inside, we really had no respect for him. But we still showed respect. But without actually having any respect in our heart for the person. You know, but it's just the manners. So he said, Bab Fadl Kabir. قال الإمام البخاري رحمه الله تعالى, and this is hadith number 353. حدثنا أحمد بن عيسى المصري. قال حدثنا عبد الله بن وهب, also المصري. And أبي صخر, who is حميد بن زياد. And ابن قصيد and أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه. عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال من لم يرحم صغيرنا ويعرف حق كبيرنا فليس منا. So here Abu Hurairah رضي الله عنه, he said that the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم said, Man lam yarham. So whoever does not show what? Mercy. Yarham saghirana, to the smaller. So we're talking about to the children. Because the children, they need what? They need mercy. They need nurturing. They need, you know, you can't go to and deal with children with an iron rod, you know, and just expect them to come out right. They come up traumatized, you know. So, but you have to, you know, have mercy with the kids and show them like this, you know, if they do something wrong, you know, you have to put them back in line. You have to show them. You have to teach them the right way. But we're talking about in general, what? You show them mercy. You have this nurturing behavior, because this way the child comes up with that same type of feeling of what? Respect and mercy for other people. But if you're sitting there showing roughness and toughness with the child's being abused, the child's being, you know, whether physically or verbally throughout his whole life, then what happens is he comes out with what? Like a lot of us. He came out with this what? This anger against the world, and then we want to go out and then we act a fool like a bunch of women out on the streets trying to take our anger out because we can't control our emotions. You know, so this is the whole purpose. We nurture the children and raise them up properly. You know, we don't, for example, a lot of the times I can remember when I was coming up, you know, you get hit for things and you're like, I don't even know why I got hit. You know, I don't even know why. You know, it would have been better for my father to sit down and say, hey, you know, I'm about to take this belt, you know, which he used to do, and I'm about to put this belt across the back of your, you know, the back of your bottom. But before I do that, do you know what you did wrong? Do you understand what you did? And teach the kids. Do you know why this is wrong? But the thing is when you just get angry and emotional, pow, and you smack the child, a'udhu billah, akhi, and there's no mercy. And then what happens with that child? What's his radd al-fi'l? How is he gonna now? He's gonna think that this is the way to deal with people. So what happens now? Every time that he gets angry, what? He lashes out at the people, strikes and slaps and punches and kicks or whatever. You know, he gets violent and aggressive with the people. Because why? Because again, he wasn't. You know, this hadith wasn't followed. So we show like this type of mercy with the children. Like again, doesn't mean you don't punish them. They do something wrong. They need to be taught that this is not the right way. Not necessarily all punishment has to be like what, Royal Rumble WWF up in the house, but you teach them, a lot of the times, and 9.9 times out of the 10, the punishment for most children is just taking something away from them, And with us, it's kind of funny because when I was a kid, how did we get punished?
Phone taken away.
Huh?
Phone taken away.
We didn't have no phones.
iPhone 16 Pro Max.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't have no phones. So how my mother gonna take a phone from me?
Just whack you.
Huh?
Just whack you.
No, our punishment was go to your room. Y'all's punishment
Go outside.
is get out of your room. It's like, what I'm saying? Leave your room. Like that was the biggest punishment for us. Like you can't go outside today. You had to stay inside. Or like the whole week you had to come home from school and stay in the house and clean up and do all this, and you can't go out. And while your friends, like, you're outside playing basketball and you're sitting inside just like
watching them through the window.
Yeah. And then no phones, man. You can't call them. They're outside. So that was like our punishment. Go to your room. With you guys, that's like a parent say, go to your room. Thank God. I've been waiting for my mom to tell me to go to my room. That's exactly what y'all want in this generation. But yeah, man. But I mean, punishment's different, right? But so man lam yarham saghirana. So whoever does not show mercy to our small ones, wa ya'rif haqqa kabirina, and they don't show what, they don't give the rights. They don't show, how can I say this? They don't recognize the rights of our older ones. فَلَيْسَ مِنَّا. Then he's not from us. He's not from us. And what does that mean? That he's not a Muslim? Huh? Does that mean he's not a Muslim if he doesn't do this? Huh? Like he's not from the Sunnah. He's not from our path. He's not the path that the Prophet ﷺ was on and the Sahaba. He's not from this path. He's still a Muslim, but he's taking a path other than the path they took in this regards. All right, so yes, and again, he's not completion. Islam is also not complete. I think it's from opening this window, man, because there's no screen in here. We got to put the screen in this window. So the flies, when we open this up and get some air in here, I think that's because I keep seeing now all these flies that keep flying.
What is Slangida?
Small. Like Kabirana, the older people from among us. Saghirana, the younger people from among us.
Oh, so it can mean old and young too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's Saghira can mean, small, like in size and stature, or it can mean small in age. So yeah. Same thing with Kabir. Alright, this hadith is authentic. Like, no doubt about it. Along with Fresno cursing out older people, right?
Sagging their pants in front of them.
Yeah, you couldn't do all that stuff. I mean,
it's embarrassing.
You could not do that stuff. Like when you went to grandma's house, pull up your pants, act right, sit up straight, don't cross your legs, don't, we had all these lists of like manners and things that we couldn't do. Like if I just sat and like sometimes I would sit and I cross my leg like this, somebody would slap the mess out of my leg.
Really?
Yeah, it's disrespectful to sit like that in front of the older people. And we had to sit just like this. Our back on the thing, our 2 feet on the ground, and our hands on our laps. We had to sit like this the whole time. If my grandfather was in the house, whichever one, my mother's father or my father's father or my grandmother, anybody, yeah, we had to sit like that the whole time. If I crossed my leg like that, if somebody wasn't close enough to slap me,
Shoot.
I could feel the look. That look that said, wait till they leave. You know, and then you just like, you start to slide your leg down and,
Yeah.
oops. Yeah, you couldn't do that. Couldn't do those. Like, there's so many different things you couldn't even, like, when I was young, especially around older people, you just keep your mouth shut. You don't talk. And, you know, because even back in the days, they had like an old saying in the South, children are meant to be seen, not to be heard.
Mm-hmm.
So you say there and you keep your mouth shut. You know, because, you know, our mothers always taught us, like, you know, when you're leaving out your house, you're what? You're a representative of this house. And if you act stupid, that's how the people are going to see the whole house. So you sit there and you keep your mouth shut. You keep your feet on the ground. You keep your hands on your legs, and you don't say a word. Somebody says something to you, yes, yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. That's it. You don't give no buts and ifs or nothing. So I mean, like I said, it's just different generations, man. It's different generations. Yeah.
They're saying it, they said in the chat they don't like me.
Huh?
Someone said I don't like the Ibrahim.
No.
He said they don't like me. So with that.
Hmm?
Who said that?
I love Islam, or Islam is the truth.
With the heart.
All right. So hadith number 354. حدثنا علي قال حدثنا سفيان ابن عيينة قال حدثنا ابن أبي النجيح عن عبيد الله بن عامر عن عبد الله بن عمرو بن العاص رضي الله عنهما يبلغ به النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال من لم يرحم صغيرنا ويعرف حق كبيرنا فليس منا. So the same hadith. It's just now it's on Abdullah ibn Amr ibn al-As. And we're going to go through all these hadith because they're all the same in meaning. All right, this hadith also authentic. All right. حدثنا محمد بن سلام قال حدثنا سفيان بن عيينة عن ابن أبي نجيح سمع عبيد الله بن عامر يحدث عن عبد الله بن عمرو بن العاص رضي الله عنهما يبلغ به النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم مثله. So he's just given a different chain of narration to show that it's the same hadith in Abdullah ibn Amr ibn al-As, but with a different chain of narration. All right, because obviously the more chains of narrations that you bring, what? The stronger the hadith becomes. Yeah. All right. وعن عبدة عن محمد بن إسحاق فيه ضعف. محمد بن إسحاق صاحب المغازي فيه ضعف وهو مدلس وهنا قال عن. All right, so he said عن عمرو بن شعيب. So, but the hadith lahu shawahid, obviously. The hadith, like we're talking about, this chain of narration is weak, but the hadith in itself is what? It's authentic because it's basically the same meaning. All right, and Amr ibn Shu'ayb and Abihi and Jaddihi radiyallahu anhum قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ليس منا من لم يعرف حق كبيرنا ويرحم صغيرنا. So the same thing. He's not from amongst us who doesn't recognize the rights of our elders and have mercy for the younger people amongst us. All right, 356. حدثنا محمود قال حدثنا يزيد بن هارون أخبرنا الوليد بن جميل عن القاسم بن عبد الرحمن عن أبي أمامة رضي الله عنه أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال من لم يرحم صغيرنا ويجل كبيرنا فليس منا. All right, so here we have an Abi Umama where the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whoever doesn't show mercy to the young ones from amongst us, وَيَجِلَّ ani yukram. He doesn't honor. He doesn't honor with respect. He doesn't show respect to our older people. فَلَيْسَ مِنَّا. Then he's not from amongst us. Allahu musta'an. Allahu musta'an. That's whew, boy, today, nowadays. But like kids do something nowadays, well, like if we did it when we did the same thing when we were a kid, there'd be a hole in the wall in the shape of a body. You know, I could not imagine. Well, I could not imagine doing those types of things when we were a kid. You know. Any questions before we go to Sharia? I want to see where this I don't like Ibrahim thing is.
He's saying because I shamed him in front of the kuffar.
In front of the kuffar?
Yeah. In front of that Christian guy that was in here asking questions.
Hmm.
He said that I shamed him.
Oh, that Nathaniel guy. I forgot
Yeah.
about that guy.
No questions.
This guy's just sensitive. So it
So
says,
Jakarta said we don't call someone who is older than us by their names. Yeah, I mean that's another thing. You never. Same thing in the South. Like you know the person's name, you don't. You call them by the name, but you have to attach like
This is Mr.
yeah, like if it's my uncle, then I put like Uncle Fulan, uncle,
yeah.
and then put his name, But you have to attach it with something more sign of respect.
Yeah. Yeah. Dale Jr. Dale Nick.
Lamb Chop said, instead, is it permissible to go on a trail to run and exercise to get in shape and swole? But there are women and girls who are dressed inappropriately, and the brother runs while lowering his gaze. Akhi, don't put yourself in a place where there's going to be fitna. If you're a man and you're running around women who are dressed like the way that they dress when they're running, akhi, come on, man. Sooner or later you start to weaken. So stay away from things where it's going to cause you fitna. Plenty places to run, or run at a time when there's,
After Fajr.
yeah, like early in the morning when there's nobody out there. There's always going to be time. There's always going to be times where there's going to be a lot of people out there. There's always going to be times where there's nobody out there. So
Winter runs. Winter runs.
Hmm.
Yeah.
what was that?
read the most recent one.
I'm trying to find the questions because you're too busy.
Someone said they're consumed by the dunya. What is there any stories from the ulama who have been like who seek knowledge but were really consumed with? I forget what the question said exactly. I don't know. I asked it.
Who wrote crackhead 3 times? You. 4 times, no.
He says, do you know any stories of scholars who had huge time constraints but became otherwise?
Again?
Like scholars who had big time restraints, but they still managed to seek knowledge and become.
I mean, I met I didn't meet the person, but when Sheikh Mubil died, rahimahullah, Sheikh Najmi, rahimahullah, he came and he visited Damaj. Before he spoke, there was another brother, an older man, who got up and spoke first. One of his students. And this is what the people said about him is like he's a doctor, but he's also a sheikh. Like he's an actual doctor in a hospital, but he also in his free time used to go and seek knowledge with Sheikh Najmi, and he's also a sheikh. And he came with the sheikh to Damaj when he visited us after the death of Sheikh Mubil rahimahullah, and he spoke. So I mean, you get a lot. You get a lot of people like that in the past. If you want, go and read the life of Ibn Hazm. But then, but you got to keep in mind too that Ibn Hazm was a well-read individual before he started seeking knowledge. But he didn't start seeking knowledge until he was much older, much older. And the story that they said about him seeking knowledge, I believe, and you can go back and check it online, inshallah, is that one day he went into the masjid and he was praying Tahiyyat al-Masjid. But it was between Maghrib, it was between Asr and Maghrib, right? So he wanted to pray the 2 rak'ahs for the Tahiyyat al-Masjid. And then when he got done, some guy told him and he started yelling at him. He said, this time is not permissible to pray. So he said, oh, I didn't know. So the next day he comes in at the same time. And what does he do? He sits down. Instead of praying Tahiyyat al-Masjid, he just sat down because the guy yelled at him. So when he sat down, another guy came to him and started yelling at him and said, Ya akhi, you can't sit down until you pray 2 rak'ahs. He's like, oh my God. He's like, well, which is it? Do I pray or do I not pray? He said, I need to seek knowledge. So I don't have to deal with this anymore. And that's what but he did this at a much older age. He was much older, busy. These dudes are busy. You're talking about busy people anyways. You want to talk about somebody who continued to seek knowledge and had the busiest schedule that you can imagine? Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, Umar bin al-Khattab. Yeah. Look at Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Do you know anybody that had a busier schedule than him? But he continued to teach the people and give the people their rights, give dawah. So I mean, us, Akhi, we're not busy, man. We're not busy. They were busy. They'd had so much going on in their lives, man. So much going on. Like, they were busy, and they still kept it going. So, but I mean, you can go back and read the life of Ibn Hazm and read how, you know, not only was he older when he started seeking knowledge, but like I said, again, he was well read. He wasn't like a person who just sat around selling things in the souk. Like, he read a lot of books. And that's why you see that he could write something like Al-Muhalla, you know, and just like super beneficial until this day, you know, where people, the ulama still benefit from this book till today. So.
Username asks, instead, my relatives called Omar Suleiman a top scholar.
What's that?
My relatives called Omar Suleiman a top scholar. Do I have to say something to them?
He's a top scholar, you know. For misguidance, he's the biggest scholar for misguidance in America. So
Yeah.
I won't say the biggest, but he's definitely at the top. He is the top scholar for misguidance.
And then the question is, do I have to say something to them?
Well, the thing is like, what can you say? See, sometimes, a lot of the times, especially with the awam, you just have to bite your tongue on things because they aren't going to accept it. They're just not going to accept it because in their eyes, they look at him and he gives this image of like he's going out and doing good and he's doing all this. He's an advocate and he's, you know, so they're going to look at you and like, and what are you doing?
Yeah.
So it's just, you know, you look at the situation. Is it beneficial for me to say something? Is it going to help them? Is it going to help them in accepting the truth? Or should I just keep my mouth shut and just, you know, because if you close off that connection with the people, they're not going to listen to you no more. And at least while you still have that opening of them listening to you, maybe they'll take advice, maybe. So then you can kind of like start to ease that in. But I wouldn't do it like right away until you like, you know, it's like, I remember the conversation that I had with, it was one of the last conversations I had with the brother Abdul Rahman, Allah yarhamu, before he got killed. Because before he went back to Damaji, he stayed at my house. And we had like a Damaji slumber party, right? Yeah, I said, I kicked you guys out the house. I told your mother, I said, take the kids and leave. Go to your family's house for the weekend. And the brother's coming and he's going to stay in the house with me because I'm not going to be able to see him that much anymore. And of course, he went back and got killed. So alhamdulillah, I got that chance to stay with him. But so we sat up there all night, and this is the topic that we were talking about. He said, you know, you brothers, like, you know, you come to the awam, like, you know, we studied in Damaj, and in Damaj it's an all student of knowledge environment. So there's a way that we could talk to each other that people accept it. But now you're coming down to people who are not students of knowledge, who don't, you know, yeah, they listen to, you know, the most stupidest stuff. You know, some of the people, like, for us, we're like, why are you listening to this? Like, I remember one time I was in a taxi, just, you know, and the guy was playing a tape by Amr Khalid. Yeah, a tape, cassette tape, you know, back in those days. You know, he's playing a cassette tape by Amr Khalid. I'm reading a book, and I'm listening, like, I can't help but listen to the tape. So I closed the book, and I said, Ya akhi, man al-ahmaq hada? Who is this idiot? And you see my response?
Yeah.
What do you think the taxi driver did? He got angry. Hey, تتكلم هكذا يا مطوع. Hey, اتق الله يا مطوع. You know, he started getting all Yemeni. You know, he started yelling at me, you know, like, you know, how are you going to talk like that? You're supposed to be religious. I'm like, this guy's an ahmaq. I say he's an idiot. And I'm going to say the truth about him. You know? But again, is this the way that, you know, you got to look at the way that you deal with. So this is what I was telling the brother, Allah yarhamu. And I was saying, like, when you guys come down here, people don't know. You're a student of knowledge in Damaj. And you're known amongst the students of knowledge in Damaj, but you're not known amongst the people here. Why is this here? So what do you have to do? You have to earn the trust of the people. You have to, like, you know, you start to build a foundation with the people. They're not just going to start taking your advice because they don't know who you are. So it depends on your relationship with the person. You know, and that's what I was telling him. I was like, look, I can take the advice from you. I know you. We're close. But other people don't. And then when you advise them a certain way, and this is what we were going back and forth like this all night long. And like I said, then the brother ended up going back and getting killed. But alhamdulillah. But Allah musta'an. But that's the thing with the people. You have to you know what I'm saying? You have to look at the situation. And it's easy to just jump down somebody's throat and start bashing people's head in with stuff that you feel is right. But what is that going to help that person? Are you helping that person? Is that person going to accept that advice? And if you chase the person off, maybe you're like the only person that he knows that might be, trying to call the people to Quran and Sunnah, and you chase them away. Now what? You're just leaving them for the wolves. So sometimes you got to bite your tongue, akhi. You have to bite your tongue and just like, I just smile. Like, if I smile like that when somebody mentions somebody, it means that dude's an idiot. But I'm not saying anything because I know the person's not going to accept it. And I just, but then I just change the subject and start talking about something different and try to keep getting close to the person, giving them advice. And then hopefully, inshallah, one day, the person will accept advice and leave this stuff. Because a lot of people, they do this because they think that this is, this is what they find in the mainstream. Generally people, when they go to YouTube, what are they going to do?
Debate.
I know they're going to go to stuff that's like popular.
Oh.
When they go to look for anything on YouTube, they're going to go to like what? The most popular thing. You don't go to a video when you're searching for something. Let's say that you're searching for like a do-it-yourself video. Are you going to choose the video that has 50 views? Or are you going to choose the video that has 30 million views? Exactly. So now these ignorant people, when they go to YouTube to look for Islam and try to find out about Islam, what do you think they're going to do?
Well,
They're going to go and listen to our videos with 200 views and like, you know what I'm saying? Or they're going to go listen to somebody like Omar bin Sulaiman who's got hundreds and thousands and millions of views and all this. Yeah. Just think about it. I mean, so it's just, that's the mindset of the people. You have to be patient and keep advising the people, but in a right way. Not bashing their head in, akhi. That stuff don't work, especially not with awam. It doesn't work with students of knowledge, man. So, we can't keep bashing people's head, and because it just, almost like you chase the people out the way, and again, out the deen. And like we said, bashiru wa la bashiru wa la tunaffiru wa yassiru wa la tu'ish wa la tu'assiru. So bashiru, give the people glad tidings, which means what? Talk to the people about the things that they can do. Start to motivate don't tell them all the things that they're doing wrong, because that doesn't motivate a person. A lot of you have certain individuals, right? If you get in their face and say like you're stupid, it would motivate him to work 10 times harder. What percentage of the population are these types of people?
Like 0.1%.
Yeah, they are like, half of 0.1%. They're the most uncommon person. The common person, if you tell him, hey man, you're stupid, you're an idiot, you should give up, he will give up. He'll stop. That's the average person. So you got to understand this. Just like you wouldn't want people talking to you, then don't talk to the people like, bashiru. Talk to them about the things that they can do. Motivate them. So, okay, for example, he's listening to Omar Sulaiman. Get off of that topic. Don't get trapped in that topic. So ask him another question. Akhi, have you read Sahih Bukhari before? Have you read Riyadh al-Salihin? Forget Sahih Bukhari. It's big. Let's start with something small. Have you read Riyadh al-Salihin before? He's like, no. Go buy Riyadh al-Salihin, give it to him and say, hey man, let's start reading this together. Like get him going. Start seeing that hadith and start seeing knowledge, inshallah. With the time, the person will leave those people on their own because they realize, man, these jokers ain't talking nothing. They're not doing nothing.
At Master Bedr, they have a copy of Riyadh al-Salihin, and that was a big inspiration for me, to start learning more.
Yeah, man, it'll hit your heart, man.
Oh, yeah.
But that's what you get the person doing something. Get them doing something. But see, the thing is you tell the person, oh, you can't listen to him. Oh, you can't listen to him. But you're not giving him something. What do? They just, I give up, akhi. Everybody's wrong. Everybody's this. So what do? They just go back to just living whatever. They do the little 5 prayers a day, and they're just khalas. They're gone. As far as like Islam doesn't exist outside of those 5 prayers. You don't want to do that to the people. So start focusing on the things. You start building a foundation with the people. Bashiru wa la tunaffiru. Don't chase the people away. Don't chase them. But we don't have that stuff. But see, these types of things, akhi, they require what? The biggest requirement to do this with a person is patience. It takes a lot of patience to bite on your knuckles when you know what this person's saying is wrong and stay quiet, because speaking is what? it's going to have the opposite effect of what you want. It takes patience. It takes self-discipline. And it takes discipline, because the only discipline is what? Self-discipline. I mean, nobody can discipline you. You can only discipline yourself anyways. But, you know, because only you can control yourself in the reality. People are like, you know, your parents can beat you or something, which might cause you to act right in their presence, but that's not going to cause you to act right when they're not around. You know, it's when you control yourself. So, I mean, it takes self-control, Akhi. It takes a lot, you know, to just bite your knuckles and just keep your mouth shut when you know, because you're looking at the bigger maslahah. And that's a sign of maturity. That's a sign of wisdom. When you're looking like, okay, if I say this, what's going to happen? What's going to be the reaction? What's going to, you know, and you should know, because you should have already gone through this experience. And it goes back to just being like, you know, real reflective about yourself and taking account of yourself. And like we talked about before, you go back and you relive these times. Okay, I gave advice to this person this way, and he got angry. Well, what did I do wrong? Well, what can I change? How should it's being reflective and going back and doing this muhasabah to nafs. You know, it's very, very important. And this way you start to learn from your mistakes, and then you start to give dawah correctly. Because all of us, Akhi, when we were young, you know, we just like, this is the hawk, and if you don't like it, you can go to hell. You know, this was our attitude. This was our attitude. And how many people did we chase away? That's not the goal. That Prophet ﷺ wasn't chasing people away. It's bringing the people coming into Islam. You know, so that's what we need to learn how to deal with the people. Purpose again of Adab al-Mufrad. You know, so we can learn these manners, inshallah. You know. Any other questions?
Removing the hair in between the eyebrows,
That's impermissible.
even if it's not from, it's just the center.
No, it doesn't matter. Plucking is not permissible.
What about shaving?
It's the same thing. So I don't know. Maybe somebody. Well, I guess it is a style now to shave their eyebrow, right? Yeah. So I don't.
Yeah, is a man sinful if he marries a woman who she doesn't wear niqab? She shows her face and she covers everything else.
Is he sinful for doing that?
Yeah, for marrying her. And she only thing she doesn't cover is her face.
I mean, he's promoting that. He's validating. If he allows her to go out like that, he's gonna share in the sin. You know, because now she's under his guardianship, under his responsibility. And if he allows her to walk out, why would you allow your wife to walk out like that where the whole world can just look at her? How do they? Well, I don't understand. You know, I don't. You know, it's like again, you live amongst the kuffar for so long that ghayra, you know, that protectiveness that you have for the Muslim women, it doesn't exist anymore. Couldn't imagine that, akhi. Could not imagine that. Could not imagine that. A'udhu billah. Nothing.
What do you do with the child if he gave his friend a black eye and say and gosh.
What you do to the child if he gave his friend a black eye and say the boy hit his brother, so he hit him, should the child be chastised?
You know, if we continue to allow, that we always allow our children to think that they can solve everything with violence, that's the way that they're going to do it until one of two things happens. Well, one of three things. Well, the third thing is a rare thing, but it does happen where the child just grows up, matures, and realizes it's taught, but it's got to be taught some other way. But either one, it's just like, you know, you keep acting violently against somebody who's more violent than you, and then your life's gone. Or two, you go to prison. You know, like right now, the vast majority of the people that I knew growing up, they're either dead or in prison. So it's like, you know why? Because that's what we were taught. We were taught to handle everything with violence. You know, and the thing is like, how many things can you, if you can't handle things with your mind, then what type of person are you? So, but again, I mean, this subhanAllah, it's sad, but it's just like, one, it's you know, it's a societal thing where it's like, you know, you go outside and you feel like, oh man, they're going to think I'm weak. Yeah, who cares what the people think about? You're going to sit here and jeopardize your life and your freedom because of what people think? Well, what are they going to think about you when you're in prison? You're an idiot. What are they gonna think about when you gave your life for nothing, idiot? You know, so why are you so concerned now about like now I gotta be violent because I'm scared? Oh, they're gonna think I'm a coward. What? So I mean, like again, but this is what society. This is what we're taught, growing up here. You know, you have to act out. You have to act violent. So I don't know, man. Each parent has to figure out how to handle that type of situation. You know, where the kids understand that violence. I mean, I'm not. You know, I don't want to sound like a commercial. Violence is not the answer, because there are times that violence is the answer. That violence is the only answer. Those times exist. So we're not going to sit here and pretend like that doesn't exist. There are times where violence is the answer. And an enemy attacks you, violence is the answer. Somebody tries to harm you or harm your family, what? Violence is the answer. And the harshest violence is the answer if somebody's trying to put your family in danger. But if it can be avoided, you know, but that's the whole thing. We need to teach the kids there are options. There are other options and then just what? Fighting all the time. Just getting in fights and fights and fights. Certain times, you know, the kid has to stand up for himself. Otherwise, he's going to get what? He's going to get bullied and mistreated. Those times exist. But those times are rare. And generally, if you got one bully and you punch him in the mouth one time, you don't have a bully no more. You know, because a bully doesn't want somebody to challenge him. He doesn't want to feel pain. And if you make a bully feel pain, then he's going to go on to somebody else and bully to somebody else, you know. But, you know, the children have to be taught different options, man. Because we can't really punish the children for what we taught them and the way that we raised them. They go out and they're a reflection of what they're getting taught in the house and what society's raising them up like. You know, and it's not just us. Look at the types of movies they're watching. Look at the music that the kids are listening to. Look at it. It's all violence. So now when the kid goes out the house and acts violently, you want to punish him. But you allow them to watch all this stuff, to play these violent video games, to do all this stuff. You allow them to do that. You allow them to watch violent movies. You allow them to watch where the hero is the guy that goes around beating the mess out of everybody and destroying the whole city, and he's the hero. You allow them to watch this. So like how now? But now it's time to punish. How you gonna punish? Well, punish for what? You're the one that the person who should be punished is the person that allowed the kids to live in this type of lifestyle in the first place. So long time.
With giving glad tidings and being easy. How do you avoid watering down how do you avoid not watering down the deen? How do you balance giving glad tidings and not watering down the deen?
You're continuing to call it the sunnah. You're not watering down the deen and you're not compromising in nothing. But again, advice, that's the the requirement of it. One of the stipulations and conditions of advice is what? You have to at least be under the assumption that it might be accepted, or the way that you're giving it will be accepted. If it's not, then it's better to keep your mouth shut. Just stay quiet, because you might, like I said, you're going to drive the person away. You're not watering down nothing. When it comes down for you to tell the people about the deen, you tell them the truth. I mean, it's in the same thing. Like, for example, if the person listens to Omar Suleiman, now if you say something about him, the person's going to get emotional and probably not talk to you. Offer other suggestions. Hey, man, have you ever heard this? Check out this audio from the brother Abu Rayhana, man. He's talking about like zuhud, or he's talking about the sicknesses of the heart. Go listen to this. Hey, check this out. Give them some other options and let them listen to other people. Introduce them to something different. And let them, little by little, inshallah. Like I said, it might help and it might not. It depends on what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has written for the person. But the way that we deal with people, we have to deal with wisdom.
With giving glad tidings and being easy, this doesn't apply with looking for a spouse, right? I feel like I want that person to be sort of knowledgeable, to not listen to these people.
Oh, no. I mean, no. If you're looking for a spouse, you have to be more stringent.
Yeah.
And it's not like you got to bash the girl's head either, But like, but you need to make sure, because the thing is that stuff that she's going to be listening to in your house, she's going to be teaching to your kids. So this is what you got to keep in mind. That's a whole different thing. You're talking about an ammi who's listening to something like this, and you're being patient with him. Like, he's mostly going to cause trouble for himself. His not going to go out. His oppression is not going to, but a girl who's listening to this stuff and then teaching the kids all this stuff, then nah, man. The next thing you know, the father's trying to call the kids to, teach them how to follow the sunnah, and the kids start hating the father. Yeah, it's because their mother raised them up on all this liberal garbage. So nah, you have to make sure, like when you're trying to get married, you guys are on the same page. You're on the same page.
My mom or my mother keeps photos of me. Am I sinful for secretly deleting / destroying them without her permission?
I told you I destroyed every photo that my mother had of me, except for the ones that I like. There's like 3 photos that she has, 3 that I couldn't find them, but she had them hidden, and she keeps sending them. She sent them to me the other day. She said, "Hey, you remember these photos?" But it's like 3 photos, and they keep sending them to me like every 10 years, But if you have the means of destroying them and get rid of them, especially without her knowledge, it's better. So it doesn't cause problems between you and her. But if it's gonna cause like major issues and problems, and again, if you're on the deen and you're trying to give advice to your mother and you're trying to get her to listen and follow the sunnah, and then you go do something like this, then she gets angry, then she's like doesn't want to talk to you or doesn't want to listen to anything that you say, then it's better for you to kind of be patient until and continue to give her advice, and just look at the situation and act accordingly.
Can you give some parenting advice for raising children in the West?
Not really, because I didn't raise my kids in the West.
Didn't we just go over that? Didn't we just go over that basically?
I mean, that was a part of it.
Is it permissible to have your izar folded in the salah, since there is no other way to wear it, or do you need a belt?
You can fold it or wear a belt, whichever way. If you fold it properly, it's not going to come loose, so it's not a problem.
بسبب مش سروال؟
Huh?
هل هو يجوز بسببه مش سروال؟ هل هو يجوز بسببه مش سروال؟
Yeah, because you're not rolling the garment up. You're only doing that to tighten it and keep it, because otherwise it will come loose. The next thing you know, you'll be exposed in front of the people. Because back in the days, like in the time of the Sahaba, they didn't wear anything underneath the izar, so they had to make sure that thing was tight. So. Anonymous said, instead, if we don't follow the order of memorizing hadith books in the video you made due to being busy, is it okay to follow and memorize along the new Bulugh al-Maram series? You do whatever is easy for you. Whatever is easy for you. And that's why with the Bulugh al-Maram, I'm going at the slow pace that I'm going at. So this gives my son time to start memorizing it, gives me time to revise it. I haven't finished memorizing. I'm going to finish memorizing Bulugh al-Maram with this lesson, inshallah, and gives me like that, but it gives me that chance to also do that, so that's why we're going slow.
He's talking about the izar. Yeah. I think
Hamid says, Saif, I want to hear you give the hadith in the class too. Yeah, because he's reciting the hadith every class and you're not doing it, so you need to start. I told Saif, I said, all you got to do is just take those 2 or 3 hadiths that were, and just read them 10 times after every salat. That's 50 times a day. Do that for 3 or 4 days, and it's not even that much of an effort, but then you memorize 3 or 4 hadiths in 2 or 3 days. Just keep, whatever pace you can keep. You just keep doing it, inshallah. Nothing else. You guys look like you're just sitting there reading the chat. You guys aren't looking, because I'm sitting here looking for questions, and you guys ain't.
Well, I looked through. I didn't find nothing except for this person causing problems with me.
Baha said, why do you deem videos to be permissible? I don't deem the videos to be permissible, and I never did. Don't majority of the Yemen scholars see it as being impermissible? Absolutely. And they are on the haqq. Allah yubarak fihim. I gotta go give the kid his medicine. 9:30. Come on, yalla. Come on, yalla. Come on, man. Come on.
Idris, read from the Mus'haf for Hamid.
Come to Fresno. Response and reaction. Ibrahim, read Surah Al-Fatiha.
I don't recite for people to sit there and listen like it's some kind of exactly second one. That's it.
That doesn't make any sense.
Right. Just don't talk.
So, let's look at your WhatsApp.
Am I on a different phone?
Oh, okay. Is a Quran competition permissible?
No. We already talked about that before.
Yeah, I know. Someone mentioned it, so I just asked it.
No, because the Quran and competition, you're going out and you're reciting to what? To win a prize, to get first place. There's no sincerity in that. So whenever we do any actions of ibadah, we do them for the sake of Allah. We're doing them to seek the pleasure of Allah, not to win a competition. It's not permissible. And all that does is cause the people to what? To riyah, to showing off. You know, and then like, oh, you give your best effort, and the judges didn't judge in your favor, and now you get angry. You get angry because the judges don't judge in your favor. Then what? You know what? Did you do that for Allah?
You know, we're doing it to win.
Yeah, exactly. You're doing it for the judges, to please the judges.
We fall into major shirk,
Mm.
right?
Huh?
We fall
It
in-
could. I mean, it depends on the person's intentions. Yeah.
Can you
But at the very least, I mean, the person's falling into showing off,
yeah.
and the whole action is just completely maqbool.
Could you give like questions that you would recommend to someone to ask for their potential spouse to gauge if like they're a good Muslim or they're practicing? Would be would be great if you put those in your marriage book. I thought they wanted them right now.
Inshallah. That's a good suggestion for in the book, inshallah. Lightning Bolt says, so a person who knows they won't be able to change an evil won't be sinful for staying quiet, right? Well, it's the hadith, right? من رأى منكم منكرا فإيش فيغير بيده فإن لم يستطع فبلسانه فإن لم يستطع فبقلبه وذلك أضعف الإيمان. So the Prophet ﷺ said, whoever from amongst you sees munkar, sees, and munkar is any type of disobedience to Allah, then let him change it with his hands. If he's not able to change it with his hands, then let him change it with his tongue. If he's not able to change it with his tongue, then let him change it with his heart. And that's the weakest of all iman. So, there's a mosquito, man. So, the person obviously that has the authority, he's the one who has the ability to change something with his hands. The person with knowledge is the person that has the ability to change something with his tongue. And everybody else who doesn't have that ability, they just stay quiet. But even a person with knowledge, there's going to be certain situations where he's not going to be able to change things with his tongue. I mean, speaking out sometimes can get a person killed, can get a person thrown in jail. So certain times you just got to stay quiet. You got to use wisdom, and you got to look at the bigger maslahah. There's the maslahah that you're looking at right now, because again, the majority of the people, they're so myopic, where they can only see what's in front of them. They can't think what's this going to result in. So you have to look at the bigger maslahah things.
Suppose there are two Muslims who want to get married but live in different cities or countries. Do you think it's a good idea for them to do the nikah over a video call before meeting in person?
I don't advise that.
A woman took shahada.
And it's not saying as far as the permissibility and not permissibility of the thing, but I'm talking about just those things. You said two different countries.
Yeah, or cities.
2 different countries. Or
Then
cities.
2 different cities or even countries.
Or just long distance.
I mean, if it's 2 different cities, that's one thing. If it's 2 different countries, man, look, I would not marry a girl until I met her family.
Yeah.
Period. Because that's what you can see, what you're getting. You look at the family, and you're going to get a good idea. She's a result of whatever the atmosphere of the family is. I would not do that. I would not marry a girl until you meet the family and really get to know the family. I'm more concerned about meeting her family, sitting down with her father, her brothers, and all these types of, uncles or whoever. I'm more concerned about that than sitting down with her. Because she's going to be whatever they are, but they're going to be more open about what they are. She's going to be more hidden about it. Because you're only going to see her in little, controlled environments. But them, you can actually get out and, be with them in a more open environment and see what they're really about. So I'm more concerned about that than anything else. And you see how the family is, then you're gonna see. It doesn't matter how righteous the girl is. She could say, I'm trying to be on the deen, but you go and you look at the family, the brothers don't pray, the brothers are smoking weed. Trust me, Akhi, that stuff is gonna come out. Not saying that she's gonna come out one day smoking weed and stuff, but she's gonna have issues. She grew up in that environment. Period. I mean, the family is the most important thing. So, I don't advise anybody to marry without meeting the family and getting to know the family first. Be patient, akhi wallahi, because you're bringing, you're going to be responsible for children being born by the permission of Allah, right? What are you going to raise the children on? And because she's going to raise them the way that she was raised. That's the only thing that she knows. Even if it's wrong, doesn't matter. It's what she knows. It's better to be patient. You're going to bring chaos to your house. Anything else? Sharia. I'm getting sick and tired of looking at you guys looking at your phone.
I'm looking at the chat.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to get you out of the chat so you stop looking at the phone.
شخص يقول أستاذ أنا في مصر الآن هل أقضي أكثر من وقتي في القرآن أو اللغة العربية؟
What's that?
شخص يقول يا أستاذ أنا الآن في مصر. هو أستاذ أنا في مصر الآن، هل أقضي أكثر من وقتي في القرآن أو اللغة العربية؟
أكثر الوقت اللغة العربية. You can memorize the Quran wherever you go. You don't have to be in Misr to memorize the Quran. But when you come back to America or
قصدي الآن أكون حاليا في مصر.
يا طيب هو في مصر هو ليس بمصري نعم.
لماذا بسوي
الاحتمال هو مشى هناك لكي يدرس. طيب اهتم باللغة العربية أول. ترجع إلى بلدك تحفظ القرآن خلاص. Memorize Quran anywhere, but Arabia you can only study it what? You really study it in the lands of the Arabs. To really get proficient in it, so the majority of the time, that's not saying neglect the Quran. I'm not saying neglect the Quran. You still gotta read the Quran, and you can still memorize a little bit of the Quran. But we're talking about the majority of your focus should be on learning the Arabic language, learning the Arabic language. I mean, there's like stories of like 80-year-old women that started memorizing the Quran and finished memorizing the Quran in the West. So I mean, you could memorize the Quran anywhere, but you have this opportunity to sit down and study because you don't know if you get that opportunity again, and you need to put all your focus into getting Arabic language. Not all of your focus, because you still, like I said, you can't neglect the Quran. You still read, still try to memorize a little bit, but again, you got to take that opportunity to make sure that you benefit from your time where you're at. All right, so we're Sharia. We're on 34, I think, right? Huh? Please. I don't know if that's mine or not. That's it. What's your look up? Come. Yes. 34, right? All right, so yeah, we're just 34. أخبرنا أبو القاسم عبد الله بن محمد بن عبد العزيز البغوي قال حدثنا علي بن الجعد قال أخبرنا عبد الحميد بن بهرام قال حدثنا شهر بن حوشب. شهر بن حوشب I think is let me see 34.
Go ahead, Geek.
شهر بن حوشب فيه ضعف, but again the hadith is still you'll see. All right.
34.
34 yeah. حدثنا شهر بن حوشب قال حدثنا عبد الرحمن بن غنم عن شداد بن أوس عن شداد بن أوس رضي الله عنه حدثه أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال لا تحملون شرار هذه الأمة على سنن الذين خلوا من قبلهم حذو القضة بالقضة. So here all right, this is reported in Shaddad ibn Aus, and he said that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "La tahmilunna shiraru hadhihi al-ummah." So the most wicked and evil of this ummah, they're going to what? They're going to carry the sunan alladhina khalaw min qablihim. They're going to carry the practices and the ways and the sunan of the people that went before. Hadwa al-quddati bil-qudda. You know, so footstep by footstep. You know, so no, al-qudda. Sorry. Al-qudda is the rish. I'm not even. To show you how tired I am right now, I was supposed to give him. He's got two types of insulin that he's supposed to get. One's fast acting, and the one that I got to give him at 9:30 is the slow one, the 24-hour one. I went and grabbed the fast acting insulin. I was about to give him 14 units, and he looked at it. He's like, "That's the wrong one." I was like, "Oh, you're right." I'm like, my mind's gone right now, so I'm too tired. But al-qudda is you know when you with the arrows. What do you put at the back of the arrow to straighten it up?
Oh, the feathers.
The feathers. The feather, that's a qudda. So just like how you line up the qudda, they're going to line it up the same way. You know, hadwa qudda bil qudda. Is that what they said in the translation of it?
Yeah, like one feather of an arrow matches another.
Yeah. So that's the qudda, is the feathers that you line up the shot with. they're going to line it up in the same way that the people before lined it up, doing the exact same actions. All right, so hadith number 35. حدثنا إسحاق بن أبي حسام الأنماطي قال حسان الأنماطي قال حدثنا هشام ابن عمار الدمشقي قال حدثنا عبد الحميد بن حبيب ابن أبي العشراء قال حدثنا الأوزاعي قال حدثني يونس ابن يزيد عن الزهري عن الصنابحي عن حذيفة بن اليمان رضي الله عنهما قال لا تتبعون أمر من كان قبلكم حذو النعل بالنعل لا تخطئون طريقتهم ولا تخطئهم. So here I'm going to break it up a little bit by a little bit. So here Hudayfa ibn Yaman, he reported, he said that you're going to follow the affairs of the people that went before you, the footstep by footstep with the sandals, like sandal by sandal, right? How do they translate?
Footstep by footstep.
But they say but with the sandals, because na'al bin na'al. All right. So he said, "La tukhti'una tariqatahum," that you won't miss their path. Like you're gonna do it the exact way that they used to do it. All right. وَلَا تُخْطِئُكُمْ, and then their path is not going to miss you either. So you're going to follow their path, and exactly the way that they followed it. وَلَا تَنْقَضُنَّ أَرَى الْإِسْلَامِ أُرْوَةً أُرْوَةً, and then you're going to go against you're going to basically go against how you say this in English? I won't say the principles, but like how did they say it?
The knots of Islam will certainly be untied, not by mine.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, like basically, because what you're going to be doing, you're undoing Islam, like by leaving off things. You're going to be leaving off like the shara'i of the deen, one by one, until like basically nothing remains. Nothing remains. All right. وَيَكُونَ أَوَّلَ نَقْضِهَا الْخُشُوعِ, and the first thing that the people are gonna leave off is what? Al-khushu'. And what is al-khushu'?
Humility.
Yeah, it's like when you go into the salat, what is the state that you go into the salat?
The humility.
You go in with al-khudu', you go in with al-tadallul. You go in, like lowering yourself, and that you're standing before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that you're seeking forgiveness, and you're seeking, you know what you're doing. And you don't have khushu' to truly understand that you're in the salat if you're thinking about other things, if you're busy, your mind's somewhere else, and you're like trying to hurry up and get done with the salat so you can get off to something else, because that means that those things that you're trying to get to are more important than what you're doing at the time. And of course, as we go into the salat, like, as we talked about before, that the time that you're praying, nothing on the face of this earth is more important than that action that you're doing right then. Not recitation of the Quran, not anything. Because when it's time for salat, it's what? It's time for salat. It's not time to go sit off to the corner of the masjid and recite Quran when the people are praying. No, it's time to what? It's time to pray. So when it's time for the salat, there's nothing on the face of this earth that's a better use of your time. So, and the state that you go into that is you have to. That's one understanding. The second understanding is who you're standing before. So again, imagine you have a job that you really don't want to lose, and the manager says, "Ibrahim, come to my office at 8:00 in the morning. I have to talk to you." How are you going to go into his office? You're going to go into his office and playing with your phone, kicking your feet up on his desk, and with this like nonchalant attitude, or you're gonna go in, ready to like, like you're scared and you're worried, like what's going on, and so you're going in there lowly, you're lowering yourself, you're going in there with this type of tadallul, because now you're worried. Oh my God, this man, he might fire me. I don't know what did I do? What did I do? Yeah. So like this is the attitude that we have with people. But now when it comes time to stand before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we don't carry that same attitude. And these people don't control anything in our lives, nothing. Whether this manager fires you or doesn't fire you, that's Allah who wrote that. Even the mistake that you're going to make that is going to cause you to get fired is something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has already written. There's nothing that you can do to change that. And there's nothing that man can do as the manager, because he's only going to do whatever Allah has written for him to do. So why should we be so scared and worried going into the these types of situations, but then when it comes time to salat, we're like what? Kicking our feet up on the desk, playing with our phone, and looking at our hands and picking our nose and doing all types of stuff, and we're just not focusing on the salah. So Allah musta'an, the only type of benefit that we have is with that khushu' of going in there, and that's when we really focus and really pay attention in the salah. The majority of the people, as soon as the salah ends, if you were to ask them what did the imam just recite in the salah, the majority of the people will be like, I don't know. They don't even know. Their minds were so gone during the salat. A lot of the people, there are times that the people, they are in the salat and they come out the salat and they don't even know what they recited. You know what I'm saying? They were reciting, but they just did it with such an absent mind that they don't even know what surah that they recited in the salat. So,
can you blow your nose during the salah? Will that invalidate it?
no.
No?
It
won't invalidate it?
No, it's not going to invalidate. I'm saying if you're going to sit there and sniffle and sniffle and sniffle, you're going to be bothering other people in the salat. It's better to blow your nose. Yeah, I mean, because you're not only protecting your own salat, because doing this a lot, trying to hold, it's going to bother you in the salat. It's keeping you busy with that, and it's also bothering the people around you. You blow your nose and get it over with, and khalas, and then you can get focused on the salat. No, it doesn't invalidate it. The only thing that invalidates your salat is when you're doing actions that are outside, that like this action completely takes you out of salat. Like you grab your phone and you start texting, you now khalas, you've gone completely out of the salat.
Petting your cat?
Huh?
Petting a cat?
Well, not. I mean, if it's just like petting it and
You get out.
if you start petting it like for the point where it's like you're like, oh, look at you. Yeah. Well, that cat came up to me, man. Oh,
my cat always does when I'm...
No, I'm saying the cat did that to me in Salat, Garfield. I had my finger out like this, and he started rubbing his neck on my finger. so I did like that, just to pet him on the neck, and I was like, get away, go away. Yeah. I mean, just pet him a little bit, and yeah, he did the same thing, man. It's crazy. All right. So he said, ويكون أول نقضها الخشوع حتى لا ترى خاشعا. So even until you don't even see a person who's khashi'a, how do they translate? I want to see how they translate khushu'.
You and I just said that exactly what the word is.
Khushu'.
Yeah.
They didn't even translate it. وحتى يقول أقوام, until the people say ذهب النفاق من أمة محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم, that there is no more hypocrisy in the Ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Like the people will say this. فَمَا بَعْضُ الصَّلَوَاتِ الْخَمْسِ. And what about all the 5 prayers? And he said, لَقَدْ ضَلَّ مَنْ كَانَ قَبْلَنَا حَتَّى مَا يُصَلُّونَ بِصَلَاةِ نَبِيِّهِمْ. He said that the people before us have gone what? Have gone astray. حَتَّى مَا يُصَلُّونَ بِصَلَاةِ نَبِيِّهِمْ. Until they stop praying the way that in the manner that their prophet prayed. Is that what it says? Is that what you got in the translation?
Yeah.
Because I got Adab ibn Hazm, and it doesn't have any of that. So when you see like the word yusallun without the harakat, it could be yusallun, it could be yasilun, it could be, so it's just, over time you just gotta, you start reading books by Adab ibn Hazm, boy, you better make sure that you know what you're reading.
What do those different words mean?
Nah, yasilun, it means to arrive.
And what do the other ones mean?
Yusallun, it means to pray. But if you don't have any, like here, there's no harakat, there's nothing.
Yeah.
So it could be any one of those things. But obviously, when you're looking at the context, that's how you know what it is. حتى ما يصلون بصلاة نبيهم أولئك المكذبون بالقدر. And he said these are the people who lie about what? Al-Qadr. All right. So these are, and of course these are the people that say what? A lot of the people that يكذبون بالقدر, especially nowadays, it's like they try to blame Qadr for their stupidity. Where they say, well, if Allah wanted me to do it, what? Yeah, I would have done it. He would have written for me to do it.
Wrote for me to keep doing this sin.
Yeah, so Allah wrote for me to keep doing this. And these are the mukaddibuna bil qadr. You know, because, you know, just like, okay, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wrote what you should have done. If you act stupid, then what? Now, that's obviously it's written too. But it's, you know, but you're also being stupid by what?
Your choice.
Yeah, by your personal choice. So Allah musta'an, you know. But they blame qadr for everything. Alright, then he said what? أولئك المكذبون بالقدر وهم أسباب الدجال. And these people are the reason that the Dajjal will what? Will come out. They're gonna be the reason that the Dajjal comes out, because they're gonna what? Make the environment good for the Dajjal to come out, because if the people are on the deen and the people are trying to be on khair, the Dajjal is not gonna come out because the environment is not suitable. Nobody's gonna believe him, right?
The majority of people will see the kafir right now.
Yeah, but now how is the Dajjal has to come out when the people are what?
Loose on the deen.
Yeah, completely khalas. They're gone. They're like shot out. You know, and when they're not even listening to the people that are trying to give them advice about the deen, they shut their ears off. You know. So he said, وَهُمْ أَسْبَابُ الدَّجَّالِ وَحَقٌ عَلَى اللَّهِ أَنْ يُلْحِقَهُم بِالدَّجَّالِ. And it's a right, you know, with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that he what? That he makes them from the followers of the Dajjal. Is that how they translated it?
To put them in the ranks of the
Yeah, to make them followers of the Dajjal. Yeah. So أن يلحقهم بالدجال أن هم يدركونه. Alright, and يكون من أتباعه. So yes, this one right here, this is number 35, is Sahihun b'shawahidi. The narration is Hasan, but it's Sahih b'shawahid, it is authentic. When inshallah tomorrow we'll read the rest, not tomorrow but the next live stream we'll read the rest of it, because the rest is just speech from Al-Ajuri rahimahullah. We want to focus on that inshallah last.
I don't know. So I don't know if this is authentic, but I seen somebody say it. So like, if I'm trying to remember, if like your provisions are written, right? Your provisions are written, and it's up. What is? Yeah, it's up to you if you're gonna like get to it in a halal or haram manner. Like if you're gonna go about getting a permissible job, or yeah, I know, like selling drugs or something.
Whatever Allah has written for you is gonna get to you.
Yeah, but
period. And you're not gonna die until you completed all that Allah has written for you. Once that risk that Allah has written for you is done, you're gone, akhi. That's it. Your life's over.
Yeah, but it's up. But they said that like it's up to you whether you're gonna go about it to get it in a permissible manner or an impermissible manner. Is that true?
Yeah.
So, but either way, as long as
it's
you
written
stay
for you.
patient,
That risk is written for you
you're gonna
regardless.
get it. So it's up to you. If
Yeah.
you, okay.
إِنَّا هَدَيْنَاهُ السَّبِيلَ إِمَّا شَاكِرًا وَإِمَّا إِيش كَفُورًا. You know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said we've guided them to the path. We've given them the correct guidance and made clear to them the path that they should follow. إِمَّا شَاكِرًا. Either one, you're going to be shakir, you're going to be obedient to Allah and be, you know, show gratitude to Allah and thankfulness, you know, gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this guidance. And be obedient to him and get things in a halal manner, what? Kafura. Or you're going to be ungrateful and you're going to show ingratitude and you're going to disbelieve in Allah and you're not going to be concerned with what? Halal, haram, you don't care. So, that's an ayah from the Quran.
Oh. If a man is nation of Islam and he is a kafir, the sister needs. Oh, what?
So you guys are right, man. It's not as.
A woman.
It's more stuffy than it is hot. Like,
I'm fine.
now that last class was hot.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah,
Sweating like,
my kufi was like, I could have done this like that last.
I was sweating like a great thing. A woman was married to a nation of Islam, but she wasn't Muslim. Then she took shahada. Does the man have to divorce her?
No, the marriage is. She has a choice, right? She has to separate from him immediately. Like, as long as he remains as because he's a mushrik, so it's not permissible for the marriage. But it's up to her. She has a choice. So but first off, she separates from him. They're not allowed to live together. He's not allowed to see her. But she could wait if she like for let's say that for example, she became Muslim, all right. She accepted the deen, but she's trying to give him advice and she's trying to get him to what? To also accept the deen. If he accepts the deen and she wants to be patient while she while through the time of dawah and all this type of like obviously she can't give him dawah because she can't just openly talk to him, but she whatever find some other means to get the brother to where he's not a brother, but to get a brother to give him dawah, but and then if she wants to wait and see if he's going to become Muslim, that's upon her. But it's her right to end the marriage right then. She doesn't divorce her. He has no walaya over her. He's a kafir. She's a Muslimah. He doesn't have anything in his hands to divorce her or nothing. It's in her hands to annul the marriage. The marriage is over. But first things first, she has to separate from him. But like I said, if she has hope that maybe he might become Muslim and accept Islam, she could be patient through that time of like him trying to receive the dawah, and maybe he might become Muslim. And if he does become Muslim, then khalas. Because she's a kafir, he's a kafir. So their contract was valid amongst the kuffar.
Yeah.
So then they can remain on the same marriage contract if he becomes Muslim. If not, then khalas, then the marriage is...
Do they need to redo the nikah?
No.
Or not redo it since it was never done, but...
No, I'm saying they were on their contract as a kuffar.
Yeah, I'm saying it's not like this.
No.
Okay, so what if she just became Muslim and don't know the difference? Should the one who gave her the shahada tell her?
Of course. Tell her what? The difference between what?
I don't know.
I mean, he needs a letter. I mean, hopefully it's a she. She needs a teacher and let her know that, because it's not permissible for her to remain married to that person. Like I said, she has that choice. She wants to wait, she can wait. But it's not permissible for her to stay with him. He can't see her, he can't talk to her. None of those things. Until like whatever. Because if the woman, a lot of the times, if he really loves the woman, you'd be surprised, man. She's like, man, I can't be with you if you're not gonna accept Islam. And that dude might accept Islam just to do what? Just to be with her. And you'd be like, well, that's a dumb reason to accept Islam. And a lot of people accepted Islam for dumb reasons. Right? But then they ended up becoming very, very strong Muslims. So you don't know what Allah has written for the guy. That might have been the thing that brings him into Islam. So if she wishes to be patient, that's her choice. But if she wants to do away with the marriage right away, khalas, that's also her choice.
Is it safe to go study in Yemen right now?
Where you're going to be studying is like Hadramaut, Mahara, Aden. Those places are pretty safe right now. Hadramaut hasn't had any major fighting in the entire war. Most of the fighting's been in Sana'a, it's been up north, it's been in Aden, it's been in Taiz, it's been in Ib, it's been in Ma'rib, in Bayda. But Hadramaut in those areas now. Shabwa is a little bit more dangerous. But Hadramaut's, it's always, because the Hadramis, they're different people, man. They're Yemenis, but they're different. They're different than the rest of Yemen. They're not like, a lot of the Yemenis are like real tribal. So whenever something happens, it's just chaos. They all get their guns and they go fight. But the Hadramis are not like that. The Hadramis are like more mellow. They're laid back. You're not going to see Hadramis yelling and fighting, and they're just not that. They're not that type of people. So same thing with like Mahra, and so even most of the people from Taiz, they're real good people, but they got certain tribes in Taiz that they go crazy. When it's time for war, that's it. They're pulling out all the stops.
How do you advise a convert brother who thinks about leaving Islam because of the humiliation the Muslims bring on themselves from widespread false beliefs and evil actions?
The humiliation that the Muslims bring upon ourselves is because we're not practicing the deen correctly. So if you see this as a problem, why would you leave? Why would you leave what you deem as the truth, that you accepted it because of what you see from the people? We're going to continue to be humiliated until we go back to our deen. That's the reality. And until we go back to the deen, that humiliation is going to stay upon us. So once we go back to practicing this deen and, emphasizing knowledge and spreading knowledge, then you're going to see a change. Why don't you be a part of the change instead of being part of the hopeless attitude of like just giving up? I mean, you know that Islam is the truth. That's why you accepted it. So why would you give it up just because of what you see with the people? Who cares about the people? You know something's right, and you know it's the truth, and you know how to go about it, then fix it. Go out and seek knowledge and be part of the solution. But becoming hopeless and giving up, you're not being part of it, you're just part of the problem. We need more people to be a part of the solution. We got too many problems. We got too many problems and too much drama amongst Muslims in America and the West, and the whole world. We don't need more problems. We need solutions. And we're tired of drama. Drama, khalas, man. We're tired of it. Seriously. We need people to start making solutions.
Can I recite ruqya for someone who is not physically present, such as a friend in another country?
That's not how it works. It works with the presence of the person. I don't know of a ruqya, like a long distance ruqya, I don't know about that.
You could do a ruqya on yourself too, right?
I mean, you can recite through the phone, but it's not going to have the effect of you being there reciting over the person. Obviously, if this is a ruqya of a person who has ayn or jinn or some issue like that, then I mean, you to be there, that's stronger. You're going to have more of an effect. So, I mean, you could. I mean, for example, I heard this story a long time ago, and I don't know if the story's, I'm pretty sure it is authentic, but I still haven't found it. I might have actually read it. But it was a story about Imam Ahmed, rahimahullah, where the person came to him, and they had a person who had a jinn, and they were, so they wanted Imam Ahmed to recite on the person. So they said that Imam Ahmed took off his sandal and gave it to them and said, "You go and you show the jinni." I don't know if he told him to hit him or just show it to him. He said that this is the sandal of Imam Ahmed, and if you don't leave, he's coming. So they went and they took the sandal and they said that this is the sandal of Imam Ahmed, and he said, if you don't leave, he's coming. The jinn was like, where'd I go? How'd I leave? Because you got to direct the jinn on how to leave. You can't just let the jinn leave. So they leave out through the mouth, or they leave out through the fingertips, through the but you got to direct them, because otherwise they might try to leave out through the body and cause harm to the person. So he's like, where'd I go? He's like, I'm out. Khalas, don't let him come. So Allah Mustaan, but yeah, beautiful story though. I gotta check on the authenticity of it. Ibrahim said anything else?
Ustad, at what point during the witr prayer should we recite the dua, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min sakhatik? You wrote it in the English. I can't really read it like that.
Read the last question.
So Ustad, at what point during the witr prayer should we recite the dua, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min biridaka min sakhtik? I guess you
That's why I had you read it. I was gonna
They
try
wrote
to
it
read
in English.
Yeah, they wrote it in English.
Yeah, I was
It's
gonna
hard
try
for
to
me to
read
read it like
It's
that.
not right in Arabic.
Okay.
Read the last question. 'Cause I got the thing in it.
So,
Why'd you take a screenshot? Like,
so you didn't have to sit there so you didn't lose it.
I lost it like that.
Really?
Anonymous said, Ustad, do we fast the day of Arafah according to the date in Saudi or the date where we live? Yeah, whatever you trust. I mean, if you don't have those types of councils that go out and search for the moon, because obviously we're living in the West. We don't, it's, even whatever we do have is not really organized, So I feel like more comfortable with just taking from like whatever. The Saudi said that they sighted the moon. and we've been doing this for years. And like I said, it's not saying that, oh, like, you know, they can do no wrong, and they made mistakes in the past. It's happened. But when we talk about, like, who, you know, what are you going to take from? Who are you going to take from? So nobody's really doing that stuff here. And in fact, here in America, what are they mainly looking toward? What does Saudi say? What does Saudi say? You know, there's two things that Saudi, they always look for the moon, right? But there's two times when they're like very, very meticulous about seeing the moon. The beginning of Ramadan and Dhul Hijjah, to make sure, because that's the season of Hajj. And they're the ones who are going to be hosting all the Hujjaj. So they want to make sure, because that's a huge embarrassment on them. If they were to mess up and get the day wrong, and then they find out that they got the day wrong and the aid that they had was really the next day or the day before, because they messed up and they thought they saw the moon or they didn't see the moon or whatever, that would be a huge embarrassment on them. So for them, like, it's something that they take very, very seriously, especially during the Mawsim al-Hajj. They do not play with this, because, you know, it's a long time. Like I said, it's you know, you're talking about millions and millions and millions of people going there, and that would be a huge embarrassment on. So I feel comfortable taking, because like I said, we don't have anything set up, you know.
Do you know how they go about it?
About what?
Like, how do they spot the moon?
A bunch of guys go out in the desert with like telescopes and binoculars, and they sit out there, you know, those 2 nights, you know, at the time from right when Maghrib, and just keep looking, because you got to know where the moon, because it's only going to show for a very, very short period of time, and then it just disappears.
Okay.
So you got to be there and you got to catch it, but you also have to know where it's going to be at, you know, if you're not looking in the right direction, because, and then again, that goes back to people having experience with going out and looking for it. Because if you take somebody, like you take a group of people who's never gone out and looked for the moon ever, what are they going to do? They're going to be looking all over the place. They're not going to even know where to look at in the right direction.
Yeah. Wait, so what if it's like the Saudis right here, right, and the moon's like somewhere over here, whatever, like, and they still like
No, the moon's going to be in their Mufrad. It's gonna they're gonna see the moon based on their matala, like the matla, like where the moon rises and sets with them.
Oh, okay.
You know, but it's gonna be the rising, because you got to catch it right at that time, right at the time of Maghrib.
Oh, okay.
And it only shows for a very, very short period of time, then it disappears. Then the second day you'll see it. So that's why you'll know if it was the first day. You'll know if you go out the second day, then it will stay out a lot longer. You'll see it a lot more clear.
Okay.
The second day, you know, but
I see.
huh?
عبد الملك كان يعرف هذا عند كنا في المستشفى وقال هذا انه شاف القمر وقال هذا اكيد اليوم الثاني والثالث.
What's that?
عبد الملك قال يعني الاستشهاد لما كنا في المستشفى وشاف القمر قال يعني هذا الهلال حق ضمن رمضان وقال يعني هذا الهلال يعني حق اليوم الثاني والثالث يعني احنا بدأنا
No, the day that it was supposed to be, the day that Saudi saw it, like they saw, or the night that they saw the Hilal, Sajid, I believe, if not, Sajid sent me a picture of the Hilal in the hospital. He saw it in Jacksonville. So, you know, it was even clear, even in Jacksonville, that he saw it to the point where he could take a picture of it. So, and also Sheikh Abdul Hamid also sent a picture. I think they saw it in Mahra. So, yeah, I mean, the Hilal, they saw it. But a lot of people said, no, it wasn't, you know. But 3 different people in 3 different countries saw it, so a long time. We're going to end this now, man, because it's 10 o'clock. I'll come back to that. I saw it, you know.
The dua?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll read it later. So I will come over and answer it tomorrow. Inshallah. Wa ilahuna subhanaka wa bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. I gotta get him fed, man.
Yes,